Extra on a Tuesday. Woo, you guys are fired up about this.
Hot topic.
I have never seen this amount of reaction to one of our topics in this short amount of time in a long time. So we're talking about this op-ed piece in the Wall Street Journal that was done the other day of a author, and oh gosh, I just changed the picture, but he wrote an op-ed in the Wall Street Journal saying that Dr. Jill Biden, Joe Biden's wife, the soon-to-be First Lady, should drop the doctor title that she's been using for about 15 years. She is not a medical doctor. Yes.
She didn't say that she was.
No, she's never said that. And she has a doctorate in education. She has been a teacher at the University of Delaware forever, and at a community college. She may have gotten her degree at University of Delaware. Anyway, this is the op-ed, and oh my gosh, it has fired people up. People are calling it petty, elitist, misogynistic, and you guys are fired up as well. So this is, I just want to read like the first couple of sentences of this op-ed because it really kind of sums it up. And he says, Madam First Lady, Mrs. Biden, Jill, and this is the one that gets me, kiddo. There's nothing I hate more than being called a kiddo. A bit of advice on what may seem like a small, but I think is not unimportant matter. Any chance you might drop the doctor before your name. Dr. Jill Biden sounds and feels fraudulent, not to say a touch comic. So he goes into a lot of detail on his 30 years teaching at Northwestern. He doesn't have his doctorate. He has a bachelor's degree. He was called many times a doctor, and it feels more about him than it does anything about her. So now I want to show you guys some of the, what are we at now? 312 comments that we are getting from viewers on our Facebook page. Blair Gardner has the top comment right now. She says, she earned it, she deserves it. Young girls and young women can only benefit from seeing her addressed this way. There are many who hold this title, not just medical doctors. Kirsten says there's nothing wrong with addressing her as doctor. She spent the hours pursuing her studies, writing the papers and taking the exams. When you add up the hours of in-classroom experience plus the field work and the cost it takes per credit, she earned that title. Tamara says, I think the ignorance is thick these days. So, I was texting you guys about this topic last night. Brenda, go first. What are your thoughts on this?
I totally agree. It sounds completely petty. One of the first things I thought of is, what about all the college professors? We called them always Dr. So-and-so. I mean, that is a title that she earned and that other people earned. And as long as you completed the degree, you get to put doctor in front of your name. Yeah. I don't think there's ever been a moment that I thought she was a medical doctor. Nor has she ever said that. So I don't really get the problem. In that op-ed also, he was kind of, it sounded inside baseball to me. It was like, well, people know in this particular, area that we don't use it. It just didn't make any sense. I'm like, oh, come, get over it, buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't understand the issue to begin with either because, the three of us all went through college. We all had doctors teach at least some of our courses, right, who I knew were not medical doctors. They were doctors in their particular field. They earned a doctorate degree.
Right.
And so I'm thinking, why is this suddenly an issue in 2020 now? Because this woman has, risen up to one of the highest titles or levels in our country. She's now First Lady-elect. I guess the bigger question, if you want to go bigger than this particular article or this one reference to doctor or not doctor, is, was he saying this because she is a woman? Would he have still said this if it was Dr. Joe Biden? If our president-elect had earned a doctorate degree in some field outside of medicine and he was a doctor on top of being president-elect? Would this article still have been written? So I would love to hear our viewers give their thoughts on if they still think, this is a case of another double standard in our country where women just are not treated as fairly as men.
The vice president-elect, Kamala Harris, her husband, Nina, wasn't he making that very point?
He said the same thing. This would have not have been said if he was talking about a man. And somebody, Dr. Martin Luther King's granddaughter, I believe, tweeted saying, my grandfather wasn't a medical doctor either, but, you give that reverence to somebody who has earned that title. If they want to use it or not, it's up to them. and Dr. Jill Biden, she tweeted, "Together we will build a world where the accomplishments of our daughters will be celebrated rather than diminished." So that was her response.
I was thinking the same thing. What if he ended that article? What if the author ended the article with, and oh, by the way, I also think we should drop the doctor title from Martin Luther King Jr. It's like,
oh, yeah.
How many flags would have been raised then? But really, I don't want to say what's the difference. That seems just too sort of flippant. But she earned the title doctor by earning that doctorate degree.
I'm all for a good debate. Right? I am all for people sharing their opinions. It is on the opinion page, and you don't have to agree with his opinion.
Right.
He was also making the point that, this is cancel culture, and you guys don't like what I'm saying, so you just want to take me off. And you know what? I kind of agree with that too. It's like, if you don't like it, then readers weigh in. They could do something on the other side, but that is an opinion. It is his opinion. It doesn't make it right or wrong. It's what he thinks. And I do believe that on the opinion pages, often they try and get something that's a little controversial.
We're all talking about it. Yeah, and that is another issue that's kind of interesting to talk about, right? Of newspapers, because I was seeing a lot of tweets from some pretty, powerful people saying, "I will never give a dime now to the Wall Street Journal." But, let's stop and see the forest through the trees that is the opinion and editorial page.
Right.
And this is the opinion of a guest writer that's meant to provoke thought. And that's what, we're having this, constructive criticism of it now. And they print all kinds of things. And Brenda and I were trying, and I wasn't a fast enough Googler, but the New York Times had op-ed this summer, and as far as our memories can remember, it was something maybe in the Trump administration that, far left liberal side did not like. But it's just like, guys, let's use these opinion pieces, which can be constructive dialogue, and not, banish a newspaper for printing it, but they print kind of all sides, hopefully, on the op-ed page.
Yeah, I couldn't get that fired up over this because I thought the same thing as I'm reading the article, which admittedly I did not read until Nina sent us that text last night, Brenda, and I said, I better read up on this. But as I'm reading it, I'm thinking, does this person really believe what they're saying, or are they just trying to generate this conversation, this discussion? So I found it hard to even get that fired up, but I am of the opinion, when it comes to opinion articles in the Wall Street Journal, that if you're expressing an opinion, it should be an opinion that is backed by some other people, at least a small minority, if you will, because otherwise it's really just you talking to 1,000 other voices that don't agree with you. I guess what I'm trying to say is, okay, that's what I wanted to hear. People who think it's a good idea because...
You want to hear one of those? I got it for you. Okay. I got it. Where is it? Let me get to it.
As you're finding it...
Chris Keim, and I'll see how... Can you see that?
Better, yeah.
Chris Keim weighed in on my Facebook page and says, Jill stated that she didn't like Joe being addressed as Senator Biden and her being called Mrs. Biden. Her reason for getting her doctorate in education was petty, elitist, and misogynistic, as it was only for the title. Let's look at some responses. Margie says, "Are you kidding?" Right. Isabel says, "Oh, wow, you got issues if you honestly think this." So there are, there's definitely people that agree with this op-ed. I think that the vast majority of people are on the opposite side of it.
Right. Connie Staub Miller on our stream says calling her kiddo was amazingly insulted. You mentioned that off the top, Nina.
Yeah. Right.
It's kind of like it sounds like I'm just going to put you in.
Were you ever
but of course it was.
called that, Brenda, like first starting out in careers or, new jobs or anything?
I grew up back in the day. There was way worse than kiddo.
Probably.
But honestly, I mean, I was also I entered this business at a time when, rightly or wrongly, I'm just going to say how it was, you just let that roll off your back and you went, straight ahead. You weren't really, you didn't get your feelings hurt too much, or if you did, you didn't let it show. Yeah. So my experience, I mean, I'm sure there are a lot of people, professional people, who did the same thing. I mean, there was no safe space. There was no, I don't know, it was a different time. I'm not saying it was a better time. It was just the way it was.
Right. I remember being called kid. Pat Doris, our
oh my gosh, it's
reporter,
funny you said that because I was just thinking.
He is notorious for, and I can tell in what
Spirit, he means it.
Yes.
Means it.
And, you know, he is just the sweetest. And he calls even people older than him kid sometimes, because it just comes out of like, hey, kid.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's different than the kind of power move of calling someone, you know, kiddo, where it's like, you know, I'm over you and I just want you to kind of remember that just little slight that, you know, can definitely roll off your back, but sometimes that sticks with you. And I saw somebody post about this Jill Biden article, and she said, you know, when she was first starting out, one of her, you know, a higher up person in her first job called her kiddo, and she never forgot it, and it kind of pissed her off, but made her work harder, and now she's the boss. You know, so that kind of stuff sticks with you, and that pisses me off in that first sentence, honestly, of that op-ed. You know, like you're
absolutely.
That's why he put it in there, though, right?
Saying go from Dr. Biden to kiddo. Get real.
But it's not like he doesn't know it wasn't disrespectful. He put it in there because he knew it was disrespectful. I just feel like I'm not going to let him get me fired up this morning. Yeah. Obviously, it's disrespectful. It's funny. I was thinking about Pat, and I thought, you know what? I can't share this because I don't want to drag Pat Doris into this unnecessarily. But since you did, Nina, I mean, I'm going to ask you, Brenda, as someone who's been in the newsroom now for 30 years, I'm going to try to tap into your 30 years of experience here. Pat Doris, veteran reporter. We all respect him, right? Can we start with that?
Yes.
Anyone disagree?
Agree.
Please do if you do. We all respect Pat. We think he's a great guy and a nice guy and good at his job. If you saw him in the newsroom today, or you overheard in the newsroom, Brenda, Pat say to one of our younger reporters, and I'm just going to mention a name, Morgan Romero. She's been on the Sunrise Show before. She's definitely one of our younger reporters. If you heard him say to her today, hey, good job on that story last night, kiddo, in passing, and she said, you know, thanks, Pat, and that was it. If you overheard that, Brenda, would you be bothered by that? Do you think that's something worth talking to Pat about and saying, hey, you know, that was kind of disrespectful what you said there to Morgan? Or is it all context?
To me, it's context with Pat. I don't think I would have said anything if I overheard that.
Or would I don't know if he would have said something.
If Morgan came to me, hypothetically, and said, oh, I didn't really like that, and she wasn't comfortable talking to him directly, then if I was asked to intervene. But no, I don't think I would.
Right. I just think I'm saying the term in general, I feel like it's how it's used, not the term itself. Because if I heard Pat say that and I knew he was being he was sincere in his compliment, I know that that's just the way he speaks. And this gentleman who wrote the article is clearly trying to, you know, he's like, let me take this a step further. Let me make my point clear. I mean, he could have used probably a more disgusting word, but kiddo gets the point across. He does not respect the First Lady-elect, and that word proves it.
Yeah, if I can't remember someone's name and they're, you know, like quite a bit younger than me, I'll be like, oh, who's that kid, you know, that just started in whatever department, and it just kind of comes off. And now I'm going to be definitely thinking about that, you know.
Yeah, there are a lot of things that you.
I would never say it to their face, but in my mind, I'm like, who's that kid that you know started in this whatever area? But now, yeah, it gives you definitely pause for thought.
Trying to think who else is commenting today. Jennifer Neiman says he's bitter and sexist.
How about this one?
Renee Robertson was at Pat's wedding.
What?
Pat is great. I went to his wedding many moons ago. That's
Pat and Jackie.
Was that a wedding crashing situation, or tell us about the connection there, Renee Robertson?
Funny.
That's
cool.
our Panama viewer. Renee's the one who lives down in Panama. Anyways, Lisa McBear. I don't think, Lisa, I've ever seen your name or heard your voice on the stream before, but Lisa comes up with some strong words this morning. She says this: weak-minded old white men hate strong, educated, intelligent, self-actualized women. Oh. These, period, men, period, are, period, pathetic in bold letters. Lisa McBear coming on strong.
Whoa.
So Ed Trotter says, I work for an organization full of MDs and PhDs. In general, MDs are referred to as doctor instead of the PhD version, which is, you know, not medical.
Rob St. Helen says they're getting what they wanted, the reaction in all caps.
One of our producers brings up a point that I believe was in that article, gang. Brian Folsom saying the word doctor comes from the Latin word that means teacher. So that's
a great
Yeah,
reminder. Steve Hockett says, I am proud that in our home we are Dr. and Mr., with my wife having earned a doctorate of education. She worked very hard to complete the degree and continues to use the education to train new teachers. My doctor wife will always be the doctor in the house.
I like that. Absolutely.
Cool.
I have another example here of someone who does share the same opinion as that op-ed piece, Barbara Anders Baker. She says she, talking about Dr. Jill Biden, just wants people to think she is someone on the higher up ladder. She is not a teacher, not someone highly educated. Or
She
not,
literally is a teacher.
She is a teacher.
She literally is a teacher.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I read that wrong because it was misspelled.
Okay, sorry.
It says she, us, a teacher, but she means to say she is a teacher, not some highly educated medical doctor. She needs to get over herself.
I know, but teachers and
She's a highly educated
and professors
teacher,
who have doctorates do get the term doctor in front of their name. Matt Lisa McNally says, sounds good to me. Sincerely, Dr. Dre.
Exactly. What does he have his doctorate in?
You say
Music.
Dr. Dre, and I think about Dr. J.
There you go.
The basketball doctor.
Exactly. Doctorate of Education versus medical doctor, Tracy,
Right.
yes. Oh, Renee chimed back in. She says, yeah, I was dating one of Pat's best friends at the time. That is so funny. We're going to have to tell him.
Okay, now more information.
Yes.
Add on to that. How was that relationship?
I know
Why did
Pat
it end if
Doris
it
is
did?
going to be surprised to know that he is the star
Disregard
of our
Renee.
show today.
Yeah. But I brought up some other reaction here. I
what
wanted to
else are
see, do we
people
have
saying?
those tag boards, you guys? Can we read through? Let's pull some of those up because those are kind of a nice, cleaner way to show some of the comments. So Gracie says, nope, she earned the degree. The kiddo who wrote that op-ed was living in another century, like something my grandfather might have said. This isn't even a discussion, is it? Her degree, her call. Donna says, if she were male, this wouldn't be an issue. Peggy Johnson says a friend has a PhD in immunology. He's not a physician, but he is a doctor. The title comes from the education, not the profession. It should be recognized. Patricia says she has every right to use it. She earned it. And Shelley says if someone receives a doctorate in any form, they definitely deserve the title, in my opinion.
Can I put the two of you on the spot?
See the controversy.
I'm nervous.
And we don't have to go here. There's like a few minutes left in our show. Maybe I should have brought this up at the beginning, not towards the end. But in your opinions,
For it.
in your opinions, Nina and Brenda, as you cruise through the newsroom and through your work life. Whoa, Nina, Brenda, stop.
Okay,
Director
what?
Solo.
No whammies, no whammies, no whammies, stop. I'm curious if the two of you think that there is still a double standard in our newsroom, in our profession. If the women in our newsroom are treated differently than the guys. And if not, great. But I was also going to ask this earlier of our viewers who are watching. Give us some examples because this, I think, is a bigger picture issue. Examples where maybe in your own professional life you think you, as a woman, are still treated differently than the equals who are males in your particular profession. Do you guys think that exists still?
Yes.
TV news has always been an incredible double standard. Whether it be the way that women look versus men, whether it be the makeup that you wear, the attention to detail of the way that we look over the years versus our male counterparts, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
That would never fly.
Yeah.
If I spent as much time on my makeup as you do on yours, they would boot me right the heck off TV.
You mean Nina? If I was to spend more time on my makeup, Brenda, what areas of my face do you think I should be giving more attention to?
I think you look fine just the way you are.
No, okay, that's fair. And I think you're right. I think that, well, for goodness sakes, I'll tell you right now, I've been wearing the same 5 damn suit jackets on the show for the last 3 years. And no one's saying a freaking word about it.
Yeah.
I think that if you two showed up in the same 5 dresses every day on the show, someone would be like, what are you doing?
Yeah, no,
what is
that's
your
true.
problem?
So yeah, there is a double standard, and not just in TV news.
No.
I mean, there is a double standard.
And everything. I mean, there's, gender pay gap that is very alive and well in our industry, and I think in every industry, and yeah, I mean, just the look thing that we have to be subjected to and
Do we?
coached and
The older I get, I kind of wonder,
well, COVID
maybe
has
we
changed a
should
lot of
just
things.
stop.
We don't, you and I don't wear heels anymore because we don't have that wide camera shot of all 5 of us standing at a desk where you might see our shoes, God forbid. I do miss kind of using some of those shoes. I don't wear fake eyelashes anymore because
2020 is too real for fake eyelashes.
Oh,
and yeah, I mean, a lot of stuff has changed because of COVID, but you just get tired, man. I don't want to put that glue on my eyes anymore.
I talk about this with Jeff sometimes, and he was talking about, you know, women in general, and saying men would absolutely fall in line, in his opinion, if we did what we want. You know, if we didn't wear all the makeup, or he doesn't think that there would be really any would bat an eyelash, so to speak, if we just stopped doing it all. That maybe we do it for each other.
But it'd have to be a collective, like, agreement, right?
Yes.
I think
we have the power to do that. I think
because
we
you'd
can,
constantly be like, oh my God, I'm not even trying, you know, and like this other person is doing all the same normal stuff, and I don't know. I mean, that would be.
I think guys are pretty simple in the best possible meaning to that term.
Yes,
they're
and
not
that
as,
means
like, complicated
that they
as we
follow
are.
certain things, and that is going to lead them that way. But then some guys are simple in the way that I don't like much makeup, but that really works on, you know, other guys.
I think. Come on, you're the.
Listen though, are you guys putting the makeup
We lived
on?
in LA. This would not even be a conversation. You know what I mean? Like, there's just values, and guys like what they like.
Can we make this another topic seriously on Sunrise Extra?
What?
Because I don't want to get into all this now. It's 25 minutes into the
What?
program. No, I'm just curious. Are you putting all that makeup on really because you feel like you're supposed to, or you have to, or because it's how you want to present yourselves?
Oh, you know what? This really does need to be a second Sunrise Extra.
Yes, I think so.
Because we need to start
If I had
from
a
the top.
freaking doctorate, I wouldn't have to put on all this makeup, maybe.
There you go.
If you had a
There you
doctorate,
go.
you could explain yourself quicker than you can right now.
Exactly.
Now you need a whole nother show. No, we're having fun. I really do respect, by the way, my female counterparts.
And same
hopefully
to
you know
you.
that.
Thank
No, honestly.
you. Yes.
You know.
No, absolutely. I do know that.
All right, you
Right
guys,
back at
thank you
ya.
for weighing in. Oh, I just saw, let's see. Oh, yeah, well, no. Thanks, Joshua, for weighing in. I see your comment, Joshua Madrid. You're one of our faves. Thanks for weighing in. You guys keep the conversation going. This is an interesting one. I think also on the op-ed pieces, too.
Read the part that says goodbye for now.
All right, goodbye for now.